Welcome to the Reclamation Point podcast, man. I'm your host, Mr. Moetown Lee. Riding shotgun is my partner,
Dr. Ed Garnes. Let me get my appropriate introduction.
You got to be the good doctor.
Yes, man.
Guess what's back, y'all? Guess what's back?
Yes, you know I'm feeling good. The tea is back,
The
baby.
tea is biznack. You know what I'm saying? And with that, we're back. And damn,
A lot has happened.
I know, man.
We-
In a week.
We've been number one, you know.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Number one mental health podcast.
Shout out Good Pods.
You know, shout out to U42. Shout out to Yaz. Shout out to David. But in the midst of us being number one, that's some good news. Some other good neuse. Election. We had an election yesterday.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know we was going there. All right.
I mean, it happened. Raphael Warnock, the incumbent, won the Senate seat here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not Atlanta, but here in Georgia.
Yeah.
Over a challenger, Herschel Walker. And I ain't gonna front.
How did you feel?
It was up and down because it was like the coverage. No lie, the coverage was crazy because they really did it like a movie. It was back and forth, and people were texting me and like,
yeah.
Man, what y'all doing down there in Georgia?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm just gonna watch it. I was like, I hope this fool don't win.
Yeah.
At one point, he was up with like 87% in, and I was like, and then they were like, well, Fulton County and DeKalb aren't in. It's a big batch of votes coming from them places, and I start feeling confident because I was like, all right, you know what I mean? The educated city folks we'll take care of it.
I got you. I can't lie, man. The anxiety got the best of me last night. I was getting sick to my stomach. I normally don't watch the coverage, but I got sucked in, man. When Walker kept going ahead, I was like, oh, God. I felt like the night before you about to ask a girl to the dance and you nervous and you considering all the scenarios that could happen. What if she say no? What if she say this? And then Ellison was like, what if we go back to slavery if he wins? I was like, oh, God, how am I going to have this conversation?
People was hitting me like, what y'all doing down there? And I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, man, I did my part, but make no mistake. Like, don't get it twisted. Like Amaretto said, like something is not Atlanta. Like, you have like the Atlanta and the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
And then you may have Columbus and maybe Savannah or whatever, or Macon. And other than that, oh no. That's real Georgia.
My dad was from Jeff Davis County, brother. You know Walker took Jeff Davis because I looked. You know what I'm saying? And then people were hitting me like these deep philosophical questions. If Walker wins, what does that say about black masculinity? I was like, I don't know. I ain't even got a chance to even wrap my mind around it. You know what I'm saying?
People look at us. I think with the election, I'm not all the way surprised. Only thing I'm disappointed in, like, to me, is like how I don't understand how people what's the scale or what's the grading curve for like Christianity and evangelicals, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing all these posts and I see these interviews and they're like, well, Walker. And I'm like, I still don't understand because I'm like, Warnock is actually a reverend. Mm-hmm. Always has been.
Yeah. But
you're telling me that, you're going to roll with Walker and Warnock is not this and that. So I'm never understand.
I mean, it's confusing to me because Warnock supposedly represents Christian values. He is the reverend of a church affiliated with that man named Dr. King, right? So in the same breath that these evangelicals will quote King and those ideologies about, colorblind racial ideology and use that. But with Warnock, it's like, no, not that kind of Christian. Not that kind of black. We don't want you to be able to complete sentences. You know what I'm saying?
Weird.
Not that.
It's so weird to me that they do that. So we had the election. Another big thing that happened, and I have been, outside of like close personal friends, reluctant to really talk about it, but I've been talking about it. So I thought about it. Coach Prime.
Let's do it.
Deion Sanders.
I'm ready. I done had so many Deion threads. Let's get into it. Get me a swig, a tea.
So, for those that don't know, if you've been sleeping under a rock, Deion Sanders, Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, has chose to vacate his post as the coach of Jackson State University to go to a Power 5 PWI Colorado Buffaloes. There's a lot of people who see a big problem with it. There's a lot of people who support it. I think most people who have a problem with it are African Americans and black people who are upset with Prime about leaving, and they talk about everything from he sold out and he sold the kids a dream, and all of these things. So let's get into that, because there's so many different layers,
nuance,
to that, right? I guess let's hear your personal opinion about it, and then I'll tell mine.
Okay. Yeah, you know how with Brother Randy Jackson used to be like, it's a no for me, dog. Well, it's a both and for me, dog. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's a both and. So I'll start with the positive first. So the positive is that, notice how the same people critiquing Deion critiqued him about going to Jackson State. Mm-hmm. Right. So if we're looking at personal opinion and doing things that black folks like, you'll always be beholden to getting criticized if you let that stop you. No one could predict the success he was going to have. Like me knowing sports, me have growing up with Deion, have coached sports, I knew he would be successful. Right. Mm-hmm. So the positive is that before Deion goes to Jackson State was in obscurity. I used to work at Jackson State years ago. I mean, the dorms haven't changed much since I was there. Right. And I was a teenager, all right? So what he brought to Jackson State not only was financial support, but psychologically he allowed black folks to have their radical imagination and dream and not accept business as usual. Why can't an HBCU have top-notch training facilities? Why can't an HBCU have a practice field? Why can't you cut the grass every day for practice, right? So he heightened expectation, and people, whether they're black or whatever, rise and fall to the level of expectations placed upon it. So he brought in not only financial horizons, but he also helped in the participation of building up black men, right? Mm-hmm. The both and is that football, like most industries, is a business, right? So in the recruiting process, every coach in America is going to sell you a dream. If we're talking about this podcast, are we going to say, hey, we're not the number one podcast? Oh, we just a little struggling podcast. You don't want to be on our show. We're going to talk about the essential positive attributes that make us better than other podcasts. Right. And so that's what salesmen do. So that's part of the business. But the flip side is that people that are grounded in HBCU culture still can be upset that he left. Like, I come from a family of HBCUs. My dad went to Morehouse. My mom went to Alcorn, Pledge, AKA. I taught at Spelman for 5 years. And if y'all knew my salary, you'd be like, oh, you love HBCUs, right? So there's a part of me that understands that in dealing with a HBCU, that you have to be realistic that it will never compete with a PWI. It will never compete with a PWI because of institutional racism and other things that the whole education system was built upon. So there's positive And then there's negative in the aspect that, people are critiquing him for not being swag. You know what I'm saying? Which is nothing but infighting amongst black folks. But most importantly, in closing, before we get my big bro's opinion, is that we can't put... Deion is not responsible for institutional inequity and white supremacy that has caused us to be disenfranchised and caused this gap, right? And my dad always said, you don't build structures on personality. You build structures that are sustainable, that have certain value systems that anyone that has that value system can come in and be successful. So he also exposes some structural things that need to change in how we operate at HBCUs as well.
So, and great valid points. For me, I personally support Deion. Deion's decision to leave. I understand why people would be upset. I think the major thing is Deion went there and Deion won, right? And Deion did some amazing things, some positive things. That's why people are upset that Deion is leaving. If Deion went there and lost, and Deion didn't make JSU and the SWAC garner national attention, the SWAC was never on ESPN before. They were on the third ESPN, like ESPN Plus or something. Like
they was on ESPN 4.2.
They've never had college game day, even think about going to any school in the SWAC. These schools in the SWAC did not embrace Deion because they were being like, certain schools were the dominant schools. And once Deion got there, it changed the whole dynamic of the SWAC. Like, they had to pay attention to Jackson State, right? Players were now choosing, and make no mistake, because people think they like, Deion was coaching at Jackson State, but players don't choose. There's very few players that honestly choose a university predicated on a university. They're choosing university on their chances for exposure, who's coaching,
playing time.
Is it going to help them get to the next level? Now NIL deals. There's all kind of things that come into play. So ain't nobody, the first choice of an athlete is not going to be Jackson State. It's the harsh reality of the world we live in, right? Even if you're going to choose an HBCU, you're not going to choose, without Deion, you're not choosing Jackson State. You're going to choose FAM. You're going to choose Howard. You're going to choose Morehouse. You're going to choose Spelman. Why? Because those are the ones that have the glamour and glitz, the name, and all of these things, right? Those are the people that the alumni talk about. Those are the people that Oprah and Spike Lee and all these other people, when they give their money to an HBCU and Robert Johnson, they give these to these particular ones, right? But I also think it's the unfair criticism for Deion, because Deion was asked to do something that no other coach in the history of sports, and especially the history of college sports, was asked to do. You said, Deion, I need you to. So Deion was asked to coach,
fundraise,
raise money, raise awareness, raise the kids. Because he's, as a black person, and it's Deion, and he's trying to teach. He had to teach. He has a responsibility to teach black men how to be the man. Saban and them don't have to do any of that. He had to create hype. He had to recruit with the lowest amount of assets. You know what I mean? But he had to recruit on a major level. He had to sell tickets. He had to build and help rebuild facilities.
Give half back his salary.
He had to get a TV deal. He had to pay his assistants out of his own pocket. He had to deal with the Jackson water crisis. You know what I mean? It was just too much for one person to ask. And if you're not investing, if you wanted Deion to stay, pay. You know what I mean? So at some point, as black people, at some point as HBCU alum, you gotta look at how many of us are giving back to these universities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just go back when it's homecoming time. You gotta pay them dues and put back in these communities. Listen, I saw the AD from Colorado, right? And he was like, we don't have the money to pay Deion
right now.
You know,
we're gonna find it.
So he basically
Yeah.
The
boosters got to come through.
Come with it.
Come with
with that check.
Cut that check.
You know, and they gonna come with it. Why? Because they know now, like, all right, it's hype. You know what I mean? Like, this school about to be like on front page now, right? And like people are like, well, it's a bottom tier university. First of all, a lot of people, Deion in a lot of the Power 5 schools, they didn't, especially schools in the SEC. They've never had. They had one or two black coaches, and they got a year or two, like Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah, I was about to say Sumlin. Mm-hmm.
That was at Texas A&M. He didn't get a fair shot, and then they brought in Jimbo Fisher, and he's getting all the shots that he possibly can. And Sumlin had a better record at
I know.
A&M.
Much better. A winning record.
Right. Charlie Strong and all these people, right? So Deion going to Colorado. First of all, it's going to shake up the game because he had them intimidated when he was at Jackson State.
Yeah.
When you got the biggest fish in the pond, Nick Saban making comments about Jackson State and how they recruit, and Deion, that's telling you something.
Yeah.
Now I'm in Colorado.
Yeah.
The game is it's on now. Now you got players, the transfer portal, and all these players are like, Deion, you got room? I'm coming.
They said over 200 people contacted them in 24 hours, recruits.
You know what I'm saying? So Deion goes there and does positive. That's going to open the door for so many other. This is a copycat like world. So if Deion can do it, then they're gonna say, okay, we can hire black coaches. Black coaches can do this, do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's gonna open up doors. It's gonna open up opportunities. You know what I mean? Because now the players that he brings, and now, like, you know what I mean, they could come and have, like, you know, they can go attend Power 5 school. They're going to get exposure because you may look at it like it's Colorado Buffaloes, but you got to remember, Colorado Buffaloes also won a national title and all this stuff. Like, they had Heisman Trophy winners. They had Charles Johnson. They had Rashawn Salam, who won the Heisman. You know what I mean? They've had guys that have been there and done amazing, right? I don't know. I think, didn't Cordell Stewart? Somebody went there, like, one of them cats went there.
Bieniemy.
Exactly.
Bieniemy went there. You know, he's the offensive coordinator at Kansas City. And then, you know, Rashawn Salam, I think, just either made their Hall of Fame or the College Hall of Fame. He is another famous Buffalo. And
so when you look at that, the exposure, because they play teams like they're in the Pac-12, so they're going to play Oregon. That's the TV. They on TV. They play USC.
Yep.
Of course, now that Deion is there.
Oh, it's on the popular.
That's TV. UCLA. So they now are playing. They playing Utah. So they're playing these big schools. And they don't be on TV. And they're getting his exposure. His son and these other players are now getting this exposure. So I am not, one of the people that's so upset. I don't think that Deion is a sellout because, number one, how can you, first of all, because I've seen a lot of people be like, he's selling out. He don't need the money. Listen, you can't count another person's pocket because your bills ain't his bills.
Pocket watching, I never would agree with pocket watching.
Because, you could be like, oh, well, first of all, I'm getting paid $300,000. And that $300,000, I'm giving half of it back in. I'm paying my assistants, right? And
some assistants were working for free with NFL experience.
Right. Now, I already left a lucrative job at the NFL Network, ESPN, to come here to coach. So now everybody's like, oh, man, he don't need the money. Okay, so if I told you to Ed, so Ed, you have Washington High, you're giving back to the community.
Yes.
Washington High is paying you $15,000 a year, but you're giving back. After a while, you're going to have to, and then somebody else, and then Woodward comes to you and they say, Ed, I got $500,000 a year for you.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I love giving back to Washington High, but I got to think about Ellison's education,
yes,
and where I'm gonna live, and all of these bills. And it's $500,000. and put a nice head for the next 5 years. It's gonna be a nice nest egg outside of me struggling, making this 15. You can always find other ways to get back. You know what I mean, to these schools now. You know what I mean? Who's to say just because you don't coach there don't mean you can't find like opportunities and funding and stuff for these schools. So there's a lot of different things that Dion can still, there's, you know, and then there's doors and that he's open while he's there, that those doors don't close. You got to keep them doors open. Now, okay, who's to say, who says that Dion was supposed to go there and stay for the rest of his life?
If he stayed there 20 years, people still be mad. But, you know, beyond just the money, take the blueprint. A new blueprint has been established. Yes, we all wanted him to stay. You know what I'm saying? Would it have been nice for him to stay? Yes, I understand that. But I don't pocket watch, and I'm not gonna tell another man how he can and cannot feel what elevation is for himself.
It's so crazy that people always they say get the check, and then when somebody gets the check, they got a problem with them getting the check.
I mean, really, it's who's going to take the weight. Okay, now Dion has given us a blueprint, right? One of the things that people forget about is strategy, right? So one of the things that Dion talked about was combining the MEAC and the SWAC, right? He was like, let's create a power conference of all of the dominant schools.
And the SWAC didn't want that.
And they didn't want that. And this is what you get. So not only can we can't have it both ways. We can't critique very, very astute blueprints and not follow them and then wonder why people are going to stay. And I don't know the true reasons, but my old age tells me this. People stay where they feel fully appreciated.
Exactly.
So we don't know we only know what the media says, but people stay where they are fully appreciated. I told anyone who would listen that when the water crisis happened and he was begging the governor and other people for support, and also when the whole "you're not SWAC" controversy happened, I said he's gone. When people sacrifice to a certain level and it's not appreciated, I don't care where you work, people are out. And in my experience in organizational psych, you know, dealing with person, environment, fit, there are 3 reasons why people leave jobs. Number 1 is compensation. Number 2 is appreciation, right under that. And then 3, organizational culture.
Yep.
That's why people leave.
And here's the thing with any situation, relationship, job, any life, health, this is me, right? Self-preservation is the number 1 key. So if you're not happy, if you're not healthy, if you don't take care of you, whether it's financially, physically, mentally, if you don't take care of you, you're worthless to anyone else. Nobody has, like, everybody giving these opinions, and even us, this is an opinion.
Yeah.
But we got to understand, nobody's asking Dion, was you happy there? You know what I'm saying?
What kept you up at night, Dion?
Exactly. But what if he just said, like, look, I was miserable there. But I stayed there that long for the kids. But I couldn't do it anymore. It's just like relationships. When people stay in relationships and they say you're there for the kids, it's a disservice.
And you know, the other part that we don't want to get into is HBCUs and attracting and cultivating and keeping talent. You know, I'm not going to name any names. One of the things that I did specifically in leaving PWI institutions was reaching out directly to HBCUs so I could give my time. None of them have responded to this day. I've been here since, July, August? So let's not act like there's not room for growth and critique. You know, like I said before, I sacrificed 5 years of my life and my financial life as well to work at an HBCU. So we can't police what sacrifice looks like for other people. Now, the institution I worked at, did they want to pay us more? Did Spelman want to pay us more? Yes, right? But they were unable to. So if we're serious about people leaving HBCUs, we got to start cutting some checks. We got to start giving. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
We have to start, building the infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm HBCU to the day I die. It's in my blood, even though I didn't go there. But we have to start investing in creating the infrastructure that's sustainable. So when we have talent, whether it's Dion or that physics professor, Mr. Jackson, that needs to stay there, we got the dough and the infrastructure for them to be successful.
And that's the thing. There's a sense of pride, right? There's a lot of people that put into a lot of schools who have a sense of pride and a sense of like, I'm part of the school that didn't even go to these schools. Mm-hmm. When you go to Alabama and these games and all the people that love Alabama, 60% of those people didn't go to Alabama, but they invest and put back in Alabama because they have a sense of pride. I look at a school here in Atlanta, Morris Brown, right? And how
Dr. James brought them out there.
What they allowed to happen to Morris Brown. Mm-hmm. If people cared, that would never happen to Alabama. You know why? Because not just with Alabama, there's other schools
that would have pitched in.
The importance of Alabama. Like, so all the schools in the SEC would be like,
no, we can't have that.
Ain't no way in hell. Mm-hmm. They ain't care. They just outside of Clark. I'll give the administration at Clark credit because the reason Morris Brown was even able to come back from the ashes and they still working towards that is because Clark and the support over at Clark, and so I can't. In this comment, I have to exonerate them from the rest of the pack. Right? They shouldn't allow it, but if you had this HBCU pride, you wouldn't allow that to happen.
Yeah, in your backyard. And shout out to I believe it's Dr. Kevin James.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job.
If anybody knows him, tell him about the Reclamation Point. Love to have him because he did an amazing job. But that's sacrifice. That is someone willing to put in the time and the investment to sacrifice. So who is going to take the weight? We as black people have to be willing to sacrifice our time for the betterment of ourselves.
But even with Dr. James, like I had a conversation with him and I had a conversation with a lot of the alumni. I know a lot of alumni from Morris Brown, and they talk about that the older alumni don't like what Dr. James is doing because of the way he's doing it. Because he's flamboyant, he's at all the events, he's this and that. And his
suits are too tailored for them.
And I'm like, okay, but these old rules, these old way of doing things had the school in purgatory.
Yeah, preach, brother.
So what do you want them to do? And now look.
Yeah, I mean, I give you a perfect example of how it was before he came. I had to get a transcript from a family member, and they missed out on the opportunity because I went there physically to get it, and I had to call around the nation to other presidents to even get the transcript, bro. And you know how close I live to Morris Brown. It's like 10 to 15 minutes, right? This was before Dr. James was there. So we should never be in a position where I have a family member that can't advance in their life because they can't get a transcript. We should never be in that kind of position. So all love to Dr. James for bringing them from the ashes. And I look at results. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I haven't heard a negative thing said about him amongst the people that I know. I know some cool people. And we got to give him his props. But we have to all... I don't police people's pockets, and I don't police what sacrifice looks for you. But if you're going to critique, get in the fight because there's a lot of fights to be had. So if you're going to critique, hey, come participate as well.
Mm-hmm. And so it's said that, again, everyone's still going to have their opinion. I think that some emotions need to be subtracted and people need to look at logic. Like coaches leave all the time.
Yeah, they
coaches leave all the time. It's a business. and sometimes they leave for greener pastures. Why isn't okay for us? And if you wanted him to stay, then ante up.
Yeah, and I look at it like when that pastor leaves the church, you know what I'm saying, and the new pastor comes in, or people's like, I'm not participating anymore because Pastor Jenkins ain't there no more. Just because Dion has moved on does not mean his allegiance to black folks is not there, and somebody else can come in and pick up the baton. You know, the thing that we sometimes as black people don't understand is that there are multiple ways to be black and support. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it does not have to look at this monolithic pocket of this is the only way I can support as a black person. So we also have to expand our definitions as what is true support. Because people got a lot of Twitter fingers, but I'm still waiting on those HBCUs I reached out to teach us psychology. I ain't heard from them. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because it segues into another topic that, you know, we were talking about. Like, what does support look like for brothers? Like, what is the for you? What is like other brothers, sisters, society? What does support look like? We talk about Dion, we talk about Warnock and Herschel, but like in all actuality, even if we don't like Herschel, we don't like some of the things he said, we don't like some of his views, but in all actuality, you know, for me, there's something mentally going on, or where Herschel, whatever. But how do we support? How do we support somebody like Herschel? Like, to come back to like the black side? Like, how do we support Dion? How do we support each other every day? What does support amongst like brothers, sisters, other people? What does support look like for black men?
Whew. You know, I thought about, you know, I'm thinking very musical today, so you can appreciate this. So, you know, Angela Winbush and Wanda Isley, when they was dating, right, they had this song called Lay Your Troubles Down. So for me as a black person, as a black man, support to me is situations, people, and scenarios where I can lay my troubles down. I don't have to edit myself. That you understand everything that I am going through as a black man in America, a person of African descent, and you have empathy for that. Not sympathy. Sympathy is, oh, Ed, I hope you feel better. White supremacy's got you. That's sympathy. Right. Empathy is, you know what? I may not even be a black man, but as a black woman, or however you identify, I'm there for you. Here's a space for us to troubleshoot. You can lay your troubles down. Here's some support. Here's some sponsorship if you need it, right? That's what support looks like for me. I look at our relationship. I think one of the reasons why we got to number one is the relationship that we have. We are different, but we support each other. So I look at our relationship as one. That's what support looks like, being there for each other, checking me when I'm crazy. You don't need to be eating that. You said what else? You know what I'm saying? So checking me, because I talked about before what Cornel West and my brother Cliff West say, there is no love without correction. So support is also critical feedback, mentorship, and checking folks. That's also support. And just lastly, support for me as a black man has a lot to do with some psychological things, man. Helping me to cope in a system that has forecasted my demise. That's support for me.
And there's so many ways, and for me, I think it's one of those things. So many ways that I think that I feel supported. I think the no disruption, like not disrupting like a flow or a mental space that I'm particularly in if I'm in a happy space. And like sometimes like coming in and disrupting that. I don't think I don't. I think it's the support is like knowing when that space and just like okay, like I may allow you to be in the space. Support can be, you know, telling a friend to tell a friend about something I'm involved in. It's just a lot of different things. I think it's much deeper than a lot of times people see. They see support. This is what we do. To be honest, we this past weekend we did and at our nonprofit like Bear Strong, we did our Kids Are Essential drive, and this was our third annual. This was actually the fifth one we did, but the third annual like for holidays, where we collect. We collect goods, toiletries, a lot of essentials for underprivileged families, and we focus on children, so Pampers and all these things. And someone said to me, they're like, for all the people y'all know, like, how many people don't be showing up? And that, to me, I took a step back because doing these and this and to realize that some people support. Some people they're present, they're not gonna be there. Some people aren't. Some people will donate financially. Some people will post, So support looks differently. But it's like, I think my issue with support is just don't ask me about it after. Be like, I would have came. Like,
yeah. The excuse part is what you hate.
So, and that is big.
You know what was funny for me was that, I actually posted and somebody inboxed me and asked, why were y'all asking for essential items? And I was like, yo, we got a long way to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, people need the most basic stuff. I was like, I didn't even respond, bro. I was like, if I have to even go there with you, you don't even understand what this is about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so, it looks a lot of different ways. Yeah. I can't be, frustrated. I'm like, all right, I just have to rethink how to create an opportunity for people to support. Like, all right, you don't want to show up to that, and all right, some people like a good time, so I'll create some things that's a good time for you to show up to, and see what that support looks like, and things of that nature. So, it all looks different. We have to gauge it. It's a lot of different facets of support and how people can support. And with that being said, on a lighter note, we got holidays coming up.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Where we going with the holidays? Much to talk about.
The quote-unquote happiest but most stressful time of the year.
Yeah. Oh, man.
First of all, what are the holidays? I didn't know that there's this thing called the holiday blues.
Oh yeah. Even
what is the holiday blues?
Man, you got to think about a lot of times during a holiday, people develop blues because people have traumas, man. Do you know how many clients that I've had that it's traumatic just to be around certain family members during the holiday? Wouldn't you have holiday blues if the uncle who molested you is cutting turkey and nobody has said anything to this uncle since 1972 about touching kids, right? So we all carry traumas, man. And then during the holidays present reflective moments for us individually to look at our lives, right? And so a lot of the things that we carry come out in the times that people tell us that we're supposed to be happy, right? So in the commercialized holiday in America, if I don't have money, I'm probably going to have the blues during this holiday because giving is attached to having a certain amount of money during the holiday. So if I'm struggling or going through something, I'm going to have some holiday blues. Right, if I've lost people in my family, like the holidays, whew, brother, the holidays hard for me. I lost my dad, my grandmother, so grief is big during the holidays. You realize who bringing the sweet potato pie? Oh, Aunt Karen's gone. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a few reasons, why the holidays happen. But one of the things I want to encourage us not to do is the toxicity that exists within families. Do not force people to be around that toxicity during the holidays, because the holidays is the time where everybody gets a pass, and we got to stop doing it.
Right.
There's many reasons, but that's just my view right now.
I think it's one of them things like and that's a valid point. The family, when we talk about, sometimes. People with children and they build up and save all year, or they feel stressed to get their children all of these gifts and all of these things, so that you have that stress. You have like the end of the year work stress. And,
yes.
And for some reason, people always get nervous around the new year and start making these resolutions, and you're upset because you made resolutions last year and you didn't meet them, and now it's depressed, and now you look at all of these things that come into play during the holidays. Some days it's happy, some days it's just grief. Some people who are single, they look at it like, they look at all these people and their families together, and they posting these pictures, and you're like, oh man, I got the holiday blues. Bruh, last Christmas, I was in a hotel with COVID looking at all the pictures of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh God. I was disappointed, but that was quote unquote my holiday blues. Like, damn.
Yeah, my dad loved the holidays, and years before he died, I just asked him, I said, man, you really you really into this Christmas thing. I was like, you've been like this since I was young. And he essentially told me, not knowing his father, not having a father, that in having those Christmases where nothing was coming, no Santa Claus was coming, nothing, you know what I'm saying? You get extra air, just get oxygen for Christmas, you know what I'm saying? He was like, I want to make sure that you and your brothers did not have that feeling of emptiness. And it looked like my dad was going to cry. I was like, what the hell? I was like, and it changed my whole perspective as to why he went so hard. And one of the things that people on both sides of my family say, I miss your dad's Christmas card. I miss your dad's. We used to do a Christmas gift run, and when you young, you're like, are we going over everybody's house like we Santa Claus? Ain't there another Santa Claus? But just him not having a father in that void, he filled that during the holidays. And so the holidays since he passed has been rough for me. Like I was a straight up B. The ends in ITCH, okay, during the holidays, but I didn't realize I was depressed. I was missing my grandmother, and I was missing my dad and other people that had passed on, because during the holidays, my grandmother cooked. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, who frying the chicken? Who doing the turkey? You know, so I was actually depressed all those years. During the holidays, I think I'm just angry that I was depressed, man.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. So I've had to fight that. You know, me having a son was the best thing that happened to me because it forced me to address my holiday blues. Because who wants to be a Scrooge and you trying to raise a child? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm saying, like, that is like the tough, one of the tough things, I think, you know what I mean? Because especially if you're missing like loved ones, and holidays are essentially like those are times you know you were guaranteed to see your loved ones, spend that time. And so that is definitely of importance. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand that. Like growing up, I was always I was kind of like one of them people who went through the I ain't care about the like holidays, because I was just like, and essentially I had to realize that was because I started just nobody made a big deal because I wasn't getting certain things that other people were getting, so I just blocked it out. And then, you know, so I'm not a big holiday person. It's not a big deal because other people didn't make it a big deal because, you know, where everybody else was getting all of these things, I wasn't. So, you know, whatever. And so I was like, no. Then, you know, as I started being deeper and being okay with my career, it was just like, yo, any kids that I'm around, my nieces, my nephews, my god kids, my friends' children, like, I just want to, you know what I mean? I understand the importance. So, you know, I strive to kind of, you know, get certain things for them and things like that, you know. I'm still not, quote unquote, like, I don't celebrate Christmas. Like, I know it's a day, and I know it's, you know, it's a day too that is important to a lot of people. So, you know, but before I'm holidays, like, it's just another day. Yeah. But it's, you know, but it's not just another day. It's one of them things that, you know, just focus on like the positive and the good things that life has brought throughout the year. So we focus on those things. It's a way to help get through it. But I get and I understand when people like, I got the holiday blues. Like, you know, essentially like the holiday blues look different for a lot of people. Some people was like Ebenezer Scrooge had the holiday blues. Yeah. I mean, but it came out like angrily.
That's how I used to be. Yeah. Yeah, I used to be the Scrooge. I didn't realize it was me missing folks that had passed on. Right. But you know, the holidays are also a good litmus test to see if your healing practices or healing rituals are working or have worked throughout the year. The holiday is a great test of that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Very good test.
Like, so, and that's the thing. That's the how things look. And I think this like what we do at Reclamation Point, like, and with the whole like therapy and everything, like it's a learning process, and it's a way for me to look at things more broader than how I've been looking at things. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? Because I would see things like with blinders on. Just I saw them how I saw them, and that helps me. So it's helping me, like through the holidays. It's helping me just every day in life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's to get a better understanding. Some things I ain't gonna front. Some things when people say or do, I still don't understand. I be trying to think it that way, but I be like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I be trying, I swear to God, you know what I'm saying? I be trying to see things the way other people, like, see things. And it's just, it'd be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be tough.
And that's okay.
And that's why I hear to you, like, yo, Ed, like, how do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, how do I get through it? I mean, I really have to have to amp up my healing rituals during the holidays, man. So like it's a lot of music, like Whispers This Christmas, you know.
right.
In my mind, the Temptations, you know. So like music is very important. So like I use music a lot, you know, in my healing process. And then each year I try to give or do something to someone in my life. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that I do. I focus on doing something nice for someone in my immediate circle during the holidays. And like, you know, having a son, I try to use all of that Scrooge energy and transform it into him having a good reality. So that kind of has woken me up too, man. But ramp up your healing practices. It's okay not to be okay during the holidays, but I have to wrap up my healing rituals, and that's music, talking to my mentors, doing Reclamation point is going to be a healing ritual for me during the holidays. Right. You know, I got to do things that facilitate joy and ramp them up for me to get through holidays, because it's hard, very difficult.
And again, as hard as it is, perspective, everything like this, and you can always, you know, hit your boy up. I'm not Scrooge.
No,
not anymore.
I don't know if you remember, you helped me one holiday. You remember the holiday my house got robbed?
Oh. That was a holiday?
That was during the holidays. That was like December 8th. Like the holiday music was playing on radios when that happened. So Moetown has helped me get through a holiday.
Damn.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was in December.
That was in December, bro. When they to give y'all some context, during one of the holidays, my home was robbed, ransacked, everything taken out. Lost a lot of family heirlooms, a lot of material possessions from my father. Like, I'm talking about gutted. And Brother Moetown looked out.
Man, but damn, that was the holidays.
You didn't even know. Yeah, it was the holiday. You know, I got a memory like an elephant. So you've actually helped me do, and you don't even know like that.
But I don't even like
that
you know
got
what I'm saying?
me through the holiday, bro.
That's family though, dog. I don't be, you know what I'm saying? They ain't a big deal. Like,
but it was the holiday. I have to bring it up because it was the holiday.
It's like my just naturally, like, my folks, like, if I got it, they got it. Like, that's how we gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we straight. Now,
I know they messed you up. Like, that was the holiday.
I didn't realize it was during the holiday, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that was during the holiday. And I was, you know, I was like, man, I'll take a break. You know, after next week, we're gonna take a break on the podcast to the new year. But we're gonna have to actually give, like, do a holiday version.
Okay, I'm
like,
ready.
We're gonna have to do a holiday episode.
All right.
And as one of my, I think this is what we should do.
Okay, go ahead.
You tell me.
All right.
As one of my gifts to my nephew, because he is a #1 supporter of the Reclamation Point podcast.
Oh my God.
He can't wait.
Oh my God. You're not
to
doing
be in front of this. We gotta bring Maisha and Ellison. We gonna bring some guests up here.
Okay.
All right. We are family. We gonna make this a family edition of the Reclamation Point podcast.
Okay.
Like, we're gonna make it holiday festive in here.
Oh man, okay.
We gonna have the sweet tea and the hot chocolates and and the candy canes. What is the peppermint tea? Whatever it is.
Okay. All right.
We are going to.
Now I'm hyped.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we gonna do.
Okay.
We gonna. Let's. All right, there it is. That's
cool.
That's what we gonna do. We're gonna make a special holiday edition of the Reclamation Point.
All right, cool.
And we're gonna have Lil Ellison on here, and
he's gonna lose it.
That is, we are going to, and it's going to be a family function in here.
Okay.
And this will be therapeutic to myself, and he'll love it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It also will be therapeutic to you because the gang's all here. That's what we'll do.
All right.
I think that that's important. We'll I ain't gonna wear no Santa suit. I
was just about to say, is there a dress code for this? for this and ever?
Yeah, I ain't gonna wear a Santa suit, none of that crap. But we gonna have a little function. And we'll discuss. We'll still be the Reclamation Point. We still gonna discuss some things. To get back and help the people, because again, this has been therapeutic to me on so many different levels. Just coming and speaking with you and speaking to the people and talking about just different topics and talking about our lives and getting it off our chest. Because, bruh.
So, hey, y'all don't even understand how much happens in between tapings. I feel like we live 2 lifetimes between when we come in here and talk to y'all.
So I tell you something that I'm gonna tell you, right?
Okay.
Something that happened. I'll tell y'all. So I have, we had a guest, the last episode we had a guest, Bessie, who is a friend of ours who happened to be a photographer. I let these folks convince me to do a photo shoot.
It was fire, Bessie. A coupon. It was fire.
Man, I was like, first of all, and this is why, because I'm so not like the camera person to me. I don't like, I never like the spotlight being on me. Contrary to popular belief, I do not like the spotlighted attention. Like, I just one of them people that I'm okay with everybody else taking the shine, and I'm just playing back, and everybody is like, look, like, as a black man, you got all these accomplishments, you guys do this and that, the other. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to focus on you. You about to hit a monumental age and all of this stuff. Like, celebrate yourself. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do some photo shoots this year. And I did one with Steve West, who's a dope photographer.
Shout out, Steve.
And that helped me because Ed was there, and we took the Reclamation Point photos together. And I was more relaxed, dope. But I was so still uncomfortable then. So let me tell y'all what happened with the Bessie.
Yeah, please tell me about that experience.
So I'm there, and she was just different outfits, and I'm like, then I look at my text and I see my right hand man, my crutch. So I'm thinking I'm gonna be more relaxed because my partner is gonna be here. I got
sick, y'all.
This brother said I'm sick and I can't make it.
And I never miss anything that we do. So
I almost
you almost died.
I was like, oh nah. And shout out to Bessie. She knew I was super uncomfortable, and I was like, oh. And she just kept like pumping me up and trying to make me laugh. But I was just so like, it just felt so weird that the spotlight was on me, and it was like something that we spoke about like, like the shine and the tension and stuff that like I kept running through my head, and what she was saying also, and it made me start feeling comfortable, and that was a huge breakthrough for me. It was a huge breakthrough for me to actually do this photo shoot where the focus was on me. And I wasn't necessarily posing, but it was posing in natural looks and everything. Because, man, when I tell you, like, I felt the way. I was, oh God. I don't know if she knew it, but I was just like, the anxiety level was high, right? And even that, so I actually, yesterday even like posted it, and to a lot of people, they're like, oh, you really look nice, but I don't understand it. I don't think people understand, like, even for me to post it and how embarrassing and like not just how that photo shoot made me feel. And it may sound crazy. I don't necessarily know, but it may sound like one of those things that just, regardless what people say, it really, like, I really genuinely like feel like the levels of anxiety when the actual attention is really on me, like, it's so weird. Like it's so weird. It's almost to the point where like it was just shameful that people like when people were paid like attention.
I was gonna ask you like
on me.
Yeah.
And so that to actually do that, it really helped me. Understand I'm still getting there. I'm still trying to be comfortable with the attention and stuff like that. And so,
did you not in those moments? Do you not feel worthy of the attention, or it's just the attention period?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of different things. It's that it's this like the guilt because I'm like stars. Let the stars be stars, but it's also like the even by like the level of success that I've gained to other people, it's still a level of guilt because I feel like there's people who I've crossed paths with and grew up with and stuff like that that weren't able to like to bring along or weren't able to get the shine and or it just, and then it's also like a mask. Like when people focus on me, I don't think that it's, to me it's, I don't know what they see. I think they see like I don't know if they see just like me, like Moetown lead, that they feel like they know, or like all of these layers of like the good and bad, and the bad things that have happened and transpired. I feel like people see that.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying?
This is critical, bro.
So I'm like, people like, oh man, like they see like, the addicts in my family.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like they see like,
they see my trauma.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was just, they see like the bad things that I've have like done and some of the like wrongs that may have happened. I feel like people see all of that. And I'm like, damn.
Oh, I relate so much you don't even understand.
And so when the cameras is on me, when the attention is on me, some people be like, oh man, you in it, like, I'm just a naturally outgoing like person and perceived to be a people person. I know, like, I naturally in that people think that I like the attention, but I like the making other people feel good, making other people smile, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's still not, to me, subconsciously, the attention isn't on me. It's on me. It's on other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But I don't, and I don't realize in that the other people are actually paying attention to my actions. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn. And so sometimes, like if there's a picture or something and there's an interview or something or somebody mentions me, and I like hear like somebody like, oh man, you like the attention. I'm like, I don't.
I don't.
You know what I'm saying? And when they say that, that makes me even more embarrassed and more like, I really don't like the attention, dog. Like I really feel like ashamed of like the focus being on me.
Yeah, but you are worthy, and you're not a person that puts yourself in front of the camera. It's like who you are as a person and your level of accomplishment is going to get you attention.
Yeah. So shout out to Bessie.
I want to know what exactly did she do that made you comfortable, because I know her and I know that she can bring things out of people. You know what I'm saying? So is there anything specific that she did that made you be able to get through it?
I think part of it is like we've had like conversations and stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that we cool.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
So part of it is like because we cool, and there's a level of comfort there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If I had to like go with a photographer that I didn't know or something like that, then I'd have been like, I don't know about this. Like I would have really been in that joint sweating like, oh my God.
I heard something. You didn't fear judgment from her.
I didn't.
You did not fear judgment.
So, that was a big accomplishment for me.
Oh, we big enough for
so
that.
Shout out to Bessie.
Bessie cool, but check her out. Get you them photos. She'll pull those things out of you.
Shout out to some of my friends that continue to motivate and pump me up to let me, Ed, some other folks, I don't know if they want me to say their names. I ain't gonna say it because it's, then the people who name I don't say.
Yeah, and we are the number one podcast, so everybody's listening.
So I'm not even fit to do that to myself, but like, shout out to the people that like pump me up, because I don't, it does feel weird. I mean, but so that was a big accomplishment, and then to actually post it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, damn.
Well, when you posted, I said he ready. I said the same thing. I said, "Oh, he ready now," because I know
he ain't ready.
Yeah, I know it's
he's
difficult.
Fake ready.
I know I know that it's difficult for you to do. So I was like, "Oh, he ready now? Go post them photos and shine."
yeah, he ain't ready. I'm fake ready. I'm Freddy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but no, I felt better though. Like, this, if this was done, if this podcast, this conversation was done with any other person, I wouldn't do it.
Really?
I wouldn't do it.
Wow, like, this is hey, we learn something new every day. Let me take a drink.
You know okay. I am not going to be here and exposing myself to millions of people without like the presence of like somebody who, you know what I'm saying, I love and respect, like as a brother, in as far as like your professional so because I respect you, you know what I'm saying, not only as like a brother and a black man, but I respect you, you know what I'm saying, like as a doctor, so I can have these conversations.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? And you and I having this conversation in the room, even though everybody else see it later on, but they're not actually in here.
I
don't have to see their faces or be like open to like an opinion or something like that. It's like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's good to know. We already knew what our relationship was, but just hearing that is good, because that was my hope in getting my degree. And you are all forcing me to walk across the stage next week and almost killing me because I didn't want to do it. But, that was my hope, Moetown, is that feeling that you have, like, even though I am a doctor, like, giving advice that people can use and, how you wear your degree is very important. Because I'm not the person like, hey, I'm gonna flash my degree.
Right.
It has to be done in a way that people are comfortable. So I'm happy that made you comfortable to do this, because it's healing for me. I feel like I need a hug and a massage after we get off the air, because we just give everything out. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you the same way, brother.
Yeah. So with that being said, I guess that was a reclamation. And what better way than to end this episode of the Reclamation Point podcast with us revealing and having a reclamation point. You know what I'm saying? Having a point of reclamation. That's what it's about. Again, congratulations to Raphael Warnock.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations to the good people of Georgia for that voted for Warnock, that saved us from the embarrassment that we would have had.
Going back to the cotton fields.
Herschel Walker be our senator, and we would have never heard the end of that. Everybody would have been, they'd have been like, y'all country bumpkins.
Yeah.
All that welcome to Atlanta is it would have went out the door, because no matter what happens in Georgia, they gonna blame Atlanta anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So congratulations to Senator Warnock. Congratulations to, whether you agree with it or not, congratulations to Brother Deion Sanders.
Coach Prime.
Prime. And what better name? Like, he gonna be so prime time, man.
Coach Prime.
What? So congratulations to Deion. Congratulations to my brother Ed, who ran to walk across that Disney age.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And do his thing. That's big.
Oh, I'm ready. I got smacked around enough to be ready.
Hey, dog. You know what I'm saying? That is huge. And congratulations to us, number one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, no. Like, what? I'm saying I'm number one. Oh, sorry, I'm lying. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
All right.
You don't know about that. KRS-One. So this has been the Reclamation Point podcast. Shout out to U42 Studios for always supporting us. So
thank you.
Shout out to Dave and Yas. And we are exit stage left. Until next week, we up out of y'all.
Peace.